Hi YouTube. Alright, let's just go ahead and get right into this. The video that I'm responding to is titled, Why Do Women and Gays Want All Boys to Be Princesses? What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and read the description of the video and what they're all about. So let's get to it. It's now official. Women really, really hate men with the most fervent of passion. And their collective general consensus is that masculinity is wrong. That attitude is now filtering down to the current and future generation of males at an alarming pace. Today, there are women who are doing more and more of the unthinkable, feminizing their sons either by dressing them in women's clothing or by encouraging them to continue to indulge in their curiosity, and it's only getting worse. The next two paragraphs are basically him talking of examples of this actually happening. The first is about the princess boy. If you haven't heard about the princess boy, it's about, I think his name is Dyson, and he wanted to wear dresses and pink and skirts and put on nail polish. He wanted to be pretty, and his mom let him. And in fact, she didn't just let him do it in the house. She let him go out in public like that. In fact, that's how he goes to school. And then she took it a step further and wrote a book about him titled Princess Boy, that I guess encourages boys that it's okay if you want to wear a dress or a skirt or be pretty, because you can be a princess boy. The next paragraph is about it was about involving J. Crew and their retailer, and there was a catalog in which their president and creative director Jenna Lyons and her son Beckett were there, and they were smiling, and you could see that Beckett's toenails were painted pink by his mother. Okay, let's finish reading the rest of this. It's quite obvious that many women of today have no care for the well-being, the self-esteem, or even the safety of young boys. It seems they would have been more satisfied if their sons were born as their daughters instead. And so they force and or loosely allow their sons to live vicariously as their daughter substitutes. Of course, feminists, female psychologists, and homosexualists love to see these images of boys being deliberately deprived of their sense of masculinity and or maleness. And according to many of their comments, they want to see it continue that way. Such is the case of homosexualist writer and radio talk personality Michelangelo Signoros. I can't say the last name, so we're just going to say Michelangelo S., who slammed actress, comedian, talk show host Sherri Shepherd of The View for standing firm and not allowing her sons to behave in such sexually suggestive mannerisms until they hit legal age, in a segment on The View discussing the J. Crew controversy. On April 14, 2011, Michelangelo S. tweeted, "Some will say you can't tell people how to raise their kids. I say, yes, we can. Instilling your kids with hate is child abuse." He followed that by starting a Facebook page dedicated to vilifying Sherri Shepherd as a bigot. In a nutshell, homosexuals are calling the normal, healthy gender development of boys hate and child abuse. Shepherd never made one instigative comment about homosexuality during that segment. The question now is why? Why do women and homosexuals want all future and current young males to act feminine with absolutely no equivalent pressure on females to act masculine? Those who understand the depth of this madness know exactly what all this is intended to lead to. But whether you do or you don't, we want to hear from you about this. Okay, I'm going to stop reading now. And now it's time for me to get my response. I do not agree. I don't agree. The question becomes invalid because women, and I'll put it this way, because I can't speak for all women or all gays, because I don't know all women or all gays, but I'm going to go for majority, just using common sense here, in my opinion. You know, the majority of women, and even the majority of gays, do not want all boys to be princesses. That doesn't even make sense. And now I'm going to tell you why. First of all, I'm going to kind of, I guess you could say, quote some information from this book right here, Human Sexuality. It is by Simon LeVay, that is Levay, and Janice Baldwin. This book right here, see? Human Sexuality. What I'm about to quote should, first of all, help you to realize one of the biggest reasons why I disagree. Okay, there is a section in chapter 11 of this book, and chapter 11 of this book talks about pregnancy and all those kind of things, and how you can get pregnant and all this. It talks about fertility, pregnancy, and childbirth. That's what chapter 11 talks about. And there's a section, the society values and the law section, in which if people about what sex, people, different countries prefer overall. They have, I think, let's see, let's count these countries we have. But let's see, these are all the countries that they polled in or whatever to get their take on. If you could choose the sex of a child, what would you choose? Basically, what sex do you prefer to have? Okay, they talked to Thailand, France, India, the United States, Colombia, Lithuania, Mexico, Great Britain, Taiwan, Canada, Hungary is spelled Hungary. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Guatemala, Germany, Spain, Singapore, and Iceland. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 countries. They talked to 16 countries. Out of those 16 countries, only 1, 2, only 3 out of 16 countries, only 3 of those countries prefer to have girls. That means 13 other countries prefer to have boys. And let me tell you, the United States is not part of 3 countries that prefer to have girls. In fact, the United States prefers to have boys overwhelmingly. In fact, the percentage that want girls in the United States, based on this thing right here, is about, it's a little bit, it's almost near 30%, whereas the ones who want boys is almost about near to 40%, a little bit above that maybe. So, for the 3 countries that do prefer girls, that is Iceland, Spain, and Lithuania. Those are the 3 countries that prefer to have girls. The rest of the 13 countries, including the United States, prefer to have boys. Okay. I say this because if what the United States wants to do, or America, or whoever wants to do, is make a whole bunch of women, why on earth would they prefer to have boys? Why on earth would a society that wants to feminize all or the majority of men want to have boys? Why don't they just want to have girls then? Why don't they just kill, boy babies the way that they kill girl babies in other countries? Because, there's female infanticide, I think, if I'm saying it correctly, in countries. I think they talk about something that happened in India and China. Female infanticide, where people would abort or just downright kill these babies because they are girls, and they didn't want girls. They wanted a boy. So, and I don't hear this too much of happening with boys. I don't think I've ever heard that happening. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm saying I don't hear about it. So, with that being said, it would make absolutely no sense for a country that prefers to have boys to want to have boys and then feminize them to make them like girls, because obviously they prefer girls. It just doesn't make sense. So here's my rationale with this. Our society prefers boys because it values male characteristics more than it values female characteristics. They see a male as being more beneficial to society, to the family, and stuff as a whole. Therefore, they want boys because boys are masculine, have masculine characteristics, and masculine characteristics are good. Okay? So to me, that's one of the main reasons why this doesn't make sense. Because boys, male characteristics are very, very much celebrated, and they are very good to have. Think about it. When people consider somebody weak, how do they describe them? Over emotional. They don't fight back. They're passive. Characteristics that people believe a female should have. Come on. And women really, really hate men. That just doesn't even make sense. Women don't. The majority of women do not really, really hate men. Some do. But there are some men who really, really hate women. In fact, I've encountered these men who really, really hate women. And they go off on me because I'm a woman. And I'm not agreeing with every single thing they say. So, to me, even I've met lots of women who have had really, really bad experiences with men. They still love men. They still go out with men. And yes, they have their moments where they dog men out. But men have their moments too. A lot of people like to bring up in the media how Some women always dog men in songs. Do you know how many songs out there dogging women, calling them hoes and bitches and all kinds of stuff? I got 99 problems, but ain't one. Come on. So, my reason why I'm saying this isn't true is because, for one thing, we live in a society that I personally believe really values male characteristics and really values males in general. Not only that, we live in a country that prefers to have boys over girls. It would make absolutely no sense for our country to prefer to have boys over girls if what they really wanted was a society filled with women. That's not the case. In fact, a lot of people in these countries, they value boys because boys are seen as being more productive. They're more beneficial. They're easier to take care of. They're less worry, less stress. People tend to, trust males with more responsibility. Trust them, get jobs done. Yeah, people like masculinity. They do. And okay. Now I want to talk about biological aspects. This book, once again, Human Sexuality by Simon LeVay, Levay, and Janice Baldwin. Also has a section in the book. I think this was probably in the gender section of the book, which I think might have been chapter 7. And in the personal points of view, they talk about what they call the boy who was raised as a girl. This is about David Reimer, who was born in 1965 and died in 2004. David was born in Winnipeg, Canada in 1965. And he was one of two twins. He had a twin brother. And his parents went to go get David circumcised. Well, something went terribly wrong. I think that the doctors used some type of laser on baby David's penis, and it burned it off. And once they told the parents, literally, they burned the penis off. There was nothing left. So here now you have this baby boy with no penis. And so the mother and the father find out. They are distraught. They are distressed. They're just scared. They don't know what to do. And the doctors say, let's make him a girl. Because back then it was easier to make vaginas than penises. They didn't really know how. So they made David, or Bruce, as he was called back then. His name was Bruce before he became David. I'll explain later. But they made baby Bruce into Brenda. And there was also this psychologist on board whose name was John Money. Just listen to that dude's name. It doesn't even sound credible. But his name was John Money. John Money instructed them to raise Brenda now as a girl. Put him in dress. Well, for this sake, we're going to say her. Put her in dresses and skirts and have her grow her hair out and encourage her to want to cook and clean and raise, be a mother and wife. Do all those kind of things. We're going to make her a girl. Well, guess what? Brenda rebelled at every stage. Brenda knew that she wasn't really a girl, even though they tried to raise her as one. She rebelled at every stage, from the dresses to the cooking to being more interested in more male-like tasks. Brenda was a tomboy. Brenda didn't want to be a girl. Brenda didn't want to wear dresses. And finally, when Brenda, got old enough, Brenda became David. So she went back to being a male. Like, she was already a male with chromosomes and stuff. The only thing was her penis was burnt off and they had made her a vagina. She became David, got sex reassignment surgery, and married a woman and adopted that woman's 2 kids. Unfortunately, all the emotional turmoil that he had went through as a child took its toll on him, and he ended up killing himself at the age of 38, I believe. It's tragic. I say this because of this. I think these type of things have a biological basis, because in the case of David, they tried to override that biological basis. They tried to override that XY chromosome, and it didn't work. You can't make a boy want to be a girl if he doesn't feel like a girl and doesn't want to be a girl. You can't do that. And the opposite is true. if a person who has female chromosomes and looks like a woman feels like a male, you can't make her want to be a girl when she wants to be a male and she feels like a male. You can't make a man who feels like he's a woman want to be a man when he doesn't feel that way. These have disastrous results. I believe at the end of the day, there's a biological component to all of these things. Of course, social constructs play a big role, but I believe it's all mixed in together. It's some environmental effects, and it's some biological effects. And I think we have to be careful when handling these things. I say this meaning that we don't know what other people are going through, and it's really not our place to start talking down to people when we've never actually been in that position. That's the crazy position to be in when you're in one body and feel you should be in another. Can you even imagine that? But anyway, I also want to pinpoint one last thing where it says where absolutely no equivalent pressure on females act masculine. I don't think there's any pressure on boys act feminine. In fact, from my experience and just observations, people are very strict when it comes to males and little boys as they're growing up. They don't want boys to have any type of female characteristic. You ever heard boys don't cry? You want to know why they say that? Because crying and showing emotions and expressing yourself is associated with being female. It's associated with being a female characteristic. And you don't want a boy to act like a girl, so you tell him boys don't cry. Because boys don't cry. Men are strong. Men don't show their weaknesses. Women do. You ever seen a little girl playing with Legos and toy trucks? Nobody minds. It's fine. That's great. A little boy play with a Barbie doll or a My Little Pony, they'll snatch it away from him and then chastise him for it and let him know boys don't play with that. People are very strict on boys because they want them to stay masculine. They want them to be real men. They don't want princess boys. They don't want gay men. The fact is, women have more leeway. I could take on male characteristics and people would not really mind. They would not mind as much as if my brother took on female characteristics. Then they'd really mind because nobody likes that. It's just more leeway with women. Men don't have leeway because masculinity is something that people are put into a box and that they, want them to stay in. So that's why I disagree. There's no pressure on females to act feminine, but there is definitely no pressure for men to act like women. This is just my opinion. Just giving it. Hope you check out the Human Sexuality book if you don't believe me. Observe some things. Go talk to a transgendered person, a homosexual, and talk about their struggles. Go talk to them. See what's up. Like literally in person. Go do it. Also, I am a psychology major. I want to be a mental health counselor, and I want to work with adolescents and adults. Well, no, mainly adolescents and young children, because I feel those are the very best times to help someone. Once you become an adult, it's hard to change habits. I found it interesting that female psychologists are happy with seeing boys being deliberately deprived of their sense of masculinity and or maleness. No, I'm not exactly a female psychologist yet, but I am a female psychology major who wants to go into the psychology field as a mental health counselor. And no, I don't love to see images of boys being deliberately deprived of their sense of masculinity and or maleness. No. I like to see children be comfortable and emotionally healthy. That's what I like to see. Bye.